Judging other people. They're like, how does that guy have a Lamborghini? He probably screwed people over and took their money. Really? That's the default you're gonna go to? Versus is, I bet that person created a lot of value in the world and he blessed a lot of people's lives. What's up, everybody? I'm Dan Martell, serial entrepreneur, investor, and creator of SaaS Academy. In this episode, I'm gonna talk about wealth. Wealth is a ratio, okay? Money mindset. Most people wanna talk about investing and wealth and all these things, but I'm just gonna share with you some basics that are fundamental, true first principles. You can't deny it. That's based on things you've heard from your parents, but you didn't actually understand how they applied in a way for you if you're building a business and you're an entrepreneur, that you can actually take advantage of it, okay? So I don't like to brag, but I've made millions of dollars in my life. I've built and exited 3 companies. I run 2 8-figure companies. I'm the CEO of both companies. I have 100 plus employees. I have a supercar and all that fun stuff, okay? And I don't share any of that to brag. I literally share it to let you know that learning the money mindset side of things and understanding how wealth is created was a journey I needed to take. I went through all the challenges, all the lessons learned, from almost going bankrupt to burning all my money on stupid ideas to investing in the dumbest ideas. Literally everything you possibly do, I've done it. I'm just lucky that I did it when I was in my early 20s, okay? I invested in, I've invested in 50 plus companies at this point, right? And some of them are billion-dollar companies like Udemy, Hootsuite, Unbounce. I've co-invested with Jay-Z on this company called Pila. I sit on the board of that company. So I share all that because in everything I've ever done, there's always this learning phase to figure out. I want to help you guys just fast track that. I don't want you to have to learn the hard way, although I also know you're going to probably do it. It's just kind of part of life, and that's fine. But I want to share with you kind of my first philosophy that wealth is a ratio, okay? People think it's what you make that makes you wealthy, and it's actually not. It's what you spend. And my dad used to say this to me all the time. He used to drive me nuts. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And I was like, man, my dad lives a pretty boring life. And I love my dad. He's my best friend. I literally just spend boys' weekend with him. So no shade, but what he forgot to explain to me is how wealth is a ratio. So what that means is that if you're making 100 grand a year and it costs you 100,000 to live, then you're not wealthy. If you're making 100 million a year and it costs you 100 million to live, you're not wealthy, okay? It's not only, it's the amount of money you make. That's why I'm not a fan of saving your way to wealth. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. I think you should work on creating more value in the world and capturing that value and increasing your income. That is the way to create wealth, because when you can live off of, single digit percentages of your income for, when you're wealthy, that's kind of where you want to be. The wealthiest people in the world that are in part of a group called Tiger 21, their target's 2%, right? You want to get 5%, 7%, even 10%. Some of you guys, are living off of 99% of your income. Make more money, don't increase the quality of your life. That's the philosophy. And be willing to do that, especially when you're young, when it doesn't matter. And you do that for a decade and the whole thing will snowball, okay? And then you'll be able to get to a point where your investments are making more money than your income, and that is true wealth. But I share that wealth is a ratio because that's what it is. It's literally a ratio of like how much income versus how much you spend. And, for me, when I started, I was 21 years old. And again, I don't share any of this to brag. I got super lucky. I ended up getting a job as a contractor, making $150,000 a year, but I was living off of like $50,000 a year, right? And the reason why is because I didn't need 150. Even in my wildest dreams, I was like, I just want a snowboard and mountain bike. So as long as I had a snowboard and a mountain bike, and I had a car, but I drove a 1987 Jetta. I drove a car that was 17 years old at the time that I was driving it, and I was making 6 figures. And this is a while ago, okay? So that might be, I feel old now, but that might have been worth a lot more in today's dollars. But I share that because that philosophy has just been part of who I am. And it allowed me to save the money to start my company Spheric. When I started Spheric, I was 24 years old. I had $75,000 invested. And this is after taking a year of travel and buying some real estate and all these things. So having the ability to defer gratification and live off of less than you make is how you create wealth. But I want to dive into it because to me, I want you to also strive and want the supercar, the private jets, the lifestyle. I believe in that. I believe in that. I'm going to share more about it, but I want you to do it in the right sequence of things, right? You don't do it when you can't afford it, but you defer the gratification, you make the right moves to be able to get there. So 3 big ideas, okay? Number 1 is the money mindset. Some of you guys have a poverty mindset. Some of you guys have a negative mindset to attracting money into your life. And if you don't fix that foundation, you'll never be able to go. My dad, love him, but my dad has a scarcity mindset. He knows it. We joke with him about it. He's always looking at saving money. He's always looking at of where he can like get the best deals. And me and my brother Pierre, we look at him and go like, yeah, you could do that. Or we could spend that time to go figure out how we can make more money. And that's our philosophy. We believe in abundance. We believe that there's more out there. So these are just some examples from my personal life that I want to share so you can understand that these beliefs, and if you want a great book on that, it's called The Millionaire Mindset by T. Harv Eker. It's probably the best book on money mindset. Every chapter literally tackles a money belief that you probably have that doesn't serve you. But I want to share the big 4. These are the big 4 approaches to money that most people are walking around with. Number 1 is scarcity. You have a scarcity mindset. You don't have an abundance mindset. I want you to install the belief that there is more money. There's trillions of dollars. Every day there's $1 trillion in the economy that exchange hands. $1 trillion, boop, just went happen. Right now, hundreds of millions of dollars just exchange hands in the world. Were you part of that exchange? Nope. That's your opportunity. There's no lack of capital. There's no lack of opportunity. Unless you live in a communist country, most of you guys probably don't, you have opportunity. You have opportunity to get it there. So number 1 is scarcity. You have to have a abundance mentality, okay? You have to overcome that. Number 2 is the fear. And it's not the fear of failure. It's actually the fear of losing it all. Well, it's kind of the same thing, but most people that I coach, founders that have had success, right? They're worth tens of millions of dollars. And their challenge now is their money mindset stopping them from investing. Their money mindset's fearful because now they've got something to lose. So it's not about like fear of failure when you have nothing. Because when you have nothing, it's like when I started, the expectations for me were low. I could have done anything and my parents would have been really excited about it. But now that I've got something, it's almost like they're more stressed out because they're worried, well, this is the quality of life that Dan's created for himself. What if he loses it? And this is what's funny. This is the crazy thing. I'm going to share with you personally. That is their stories, not mine. When they question me on this stuff or they say these comments, I realize that's their money mindset coming out and reflecting their psychology, not mine. Okay? And it's so crazy that they have a fear of losing it, a fear of success and losing it all for me. So again, I just shared that because these are the big 4. Number 1 is scarcity. Number 2 is fear of losing it all. Number 3 is judgment. Judging other people. Some of you guys are judging other people and you don't even realize that those judgments, you see a guy driving a Lamborghini, you see a guy do some ad on YouTube, you see a person in a big house. Literally, I all the time. I live in an incredible neighborhood and people come up and go, what does he do? What does he do? What does he do? And I don't know, I think the question is, some people it's curious, but a lot of people is they don't understand it. They're like, how does that guy have a Lamborghini? He probably screwed people over and took their money. Really? That's the default you're going to go to? That conversation, that language, that's where you're going to go to with it? Versus is, I bet that person created a lot of value in the world and he blessed a lot of people's lives. I bet he created a world-class company that employed hundreds of people, and through that hard work, determination, and risk, he was able to create an opportunity where he could have paid that Lamborghini cash 10 times over. Instead of, that person probably has that car leased and they're leveraged to the hilt, and next time there's an economic downturn, they're going to lose it all. Like that story, those 2 different stories dramatically impact you, okay? And if you think you don't do it, I call it scroll troll. You're probably judging people through your social media feed, just scrolling and trolling with your thoughts. You may not write it down. You may not leave a comment, but you are definitely scroll trolling, potentially, just an invitation. So that is the money mindset. Number 2 is you need to have a money plan, okay? I'm going to share some language. This came from Taylor Welsh from Traffic and Funnels. He's one of my friends. And I like the language. I'm not going to be able to teach you wealth investing in a few minutes, but he calls it the pumps, the buckets, and the moats, okay? The pumps, the buckets, and the moats. And I think it's important for it doesn't matter what part of the journey you're on. Some of you guys got great pumps. Pumps is like a revenue generating vehicle. Maybe it's your job, maybe it's your company, maybe it's multiple companies. You have great pumps. But what you're missing is the bucket. And the bucket is a place to put the excess capital, okay? Because when wealth is a ratio. So if you're living off of 10% of your income and you've got 90% left over and you got to pay taxes and all that fun stuff, where do you put it as a bucket to be able to turn it into an asset, okay? Cash on its own is not an asset. Again, I'm not getting into the whole financial stuff. I just want to share with you. You can Google this, read up. Taylor's done videos on this. I really like his thoughts on it. And then finally, the moats. How do you protect that? How do you create multi-generational wealth? How do you create the infrastructure to support it? And why is this important for you to understand, the pumps, the buckets, and the moats, is because some of you, if I gave you $10 million tomorrow, within 2 to 3 years, you'd have nothing. Because you don't understand how economics work. You don't understand how wealth works. You don't understand how the complexity of money works. And if you just are handed that, that is too much potential energy. It's the reason why I will not give my kids millions of dollars upon my death. It's stupid. And I'm going to give you a book recommendation at the end that I absolutely think you should read on that and other things around money. But having a money plan is going to allow you to be able to understand, if I've got this business, what am I doing with my capital? And then long term, as it grows, how do I protect it? How do I create that moat? So that is number 2. Number 3 is the money vision. Okay, here's what I believe. I believe God wants you to be great. I believe you were created in God's image. Whatever your creator is. Maybe you believe in Source or Allah or Jesus or whatever. I honestly, maybe you're an atheist, but I just believe this. I believe if you're watching this, He wants you to be amazing. He wants you to be wealthy. He doesn't want you to do ones and twos. You know, some of you guys think, well, I'm donating this, I'm doing that, I built one houses. He wants you to do tens and hundreds. He wants you to do more. He wants you to give more. He's created you in His image so that you can become more, so you've got more to give. And when people say it's not about the money, I just say you haven't given enough away. Have a money vision for your life. Figure out what you want to create. What impact do you want to have? Have that vision. Understand the wealth. Write it down. This is the kind of net worth I want by this date, and build a plan to get you there. And understand that you're going to have to become better to achieve it, but that's the whole point. That's what we're here for. That is the journey. It's not the destination. It's who you get to become part of that process. And it starts with having a vision for what that outcome looks like. And I want to encourage you to go deep. Okay? I remember one time I had a friend of mine, Mark, he came over to my house for some business advice. And I could tell he had some challenges around personal value, charging for what he does, and like making money off of his services because he felt like he should give it. He's a person of faith and he just wants to support his community. And if people are suffering, he wants to help them. But I told him, I said, you have to value what you're creating so that the world values it. We don't value free. If somebody says, hey, I want to give you a free workout, you're going to be like, well, he's not very good. Why is he doing free workouts? Right? If they want to do free coaching or free consulting or free this, they don't value it. Why are you doing free? That's the mentality. People want to, you're $10,000? Holy cow. I can't afford it, but man, if I could, that would be amazing. You must be so incredible. And he's like, I could never do that. I could never charge that much money. This is what I said to Mark. I said, what if the money you collect, you gave it to your church? Oh, immediately unlocked, boom, cracked open. He said, well, I would charge more. Interesting. So all of a sudden, you made it not about yourself. You made it about other people. And in that moment, you knew that there was more that you could charge to collect more, to give more. And when I said, hey, you believe in tithing? It's a thing. What if you gave 10% of your revenue to your church and you align your giving with your business revenue? How hard will you push to collect money? How hard will you push in your next marketing campaign? How hard will you push to build your empire now? Now that that's the outcome, what are you going to do? Now you have a money vision. Now you have alignment. Now you have purpose. And that energy will just be felt and it will support you, because I believe the world rewards those that support life. And if you're out there trying to do good and help other people, you're going to have an amazing life. You know, I got to share this story because my buddy Garrett Gunderson is, I call him Money Jesus. Okay, he actually looks like Jesus. He's a comedian, but he's actually one of the world's top tax planning, wealth experts, family office kind of guys. He's an incredible dude, and he did this exercise for my boardroom coaching group. It's for folks that are kind of like 5-10 million in annual recurring revenue in their business, and a lot of them have like $100 million plus net worths because of the value on their businesses and software and all these things. And he asked everybody to close their eye, and he asked them a question. He goes, let's pretend I just deposited $1,000 a month free. Taxes are paid, it's $1,000 a month. What would you do with it? And they said, what if I deposited $5,000 every month, each and every month, taxes are paid, nothing to do with it. What would you do with it? And then he said $10,000. And then he said $100,000. And then he said $1 million. And then he asked everybody a great question. He said, at what point did what you were going to do with the money flip to be not about your life, but about helping other people? That was fascinating. Ask yourself that question. At what point would the excess money coming into your life through your businesses, above and beyond your needs to live, would it require you to decide to make it less about you increasing your quality of life and more about supporting other people's quality of life? Because that is the opportunity. You bring that down where it's not $1 million a month, it's not $100,000 a month, but it's $10,000 a month, it's $5,000 a month, it's $1,000 a month, and you make it about other people. Here's what I'm going to tell you is going to happen: is you will attract that into your life. That will become part of your ability to attract abundance into your life. Because here's what I want to leave you with, okay? This message, okay? Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot buy more time. That's a Jim Rohn quote. Jim Rohn is the OG of personal development. If you haven't watched anything he's ever done, please study Jim Rohn. But time is more valuable than money because you can get more money, but you cannot buy more time. I don't care how rich you are. So I promised you a book. I want to leave you with this, okay? The book is called Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. It is a fascinating read. I love the way he's breaking everything down into metrics, but the big argument that he makes that is worth considering is when you die, if you die with excess, whatever that amount is, it could be $100,000, it could be $500,000, and it could be $5 million or $50 million. Whatever you die with essentially are years that you could have bought back in your working life. Okay, and that's just one of a dozen incredible concepts that he argues. And the cool part is he's not saying don't build an empire. He's not saying don't work your butt off, but he's giving you specific frameworks for when to give money to your children, when to give money to charities, how to think through it through first principles approach. That's why I love that book. It's what I would encourage you all to leave right now, go online, get the book, get it ordered, get it on your Kindle, get it shipped to your house, because it will absolutely transform your money mindset and your beliefs around life and how to get more out of it. And for me, that is what I encourage you all to do. As you know, I want to challenge you all to live a bigger life and a bigger business, and I'll see you next week.